I've owned a lot of cars, 17 to be exact. And today, we're going to go through and rank every single car that I've ever owned, starting with my very first car, all the way up until the cars that I have now. And we're going to see if I actually have any good taste in cars, or if all of my cars actually suck. My first car ever, Scion XB Gold Rush Edition. My parents were kind enough to buy this for me when I was 15. They got it for me brand new. They wanted me to have a nice, safe, reliable car. I did a couple of things to it. I put some purple neon under it because I like the Lakers, so I thought gold and purple would be cool. They also got me two 12-inch JL Audio W0 subwoofers that absolutely rattled the entire car. It shook the windows, it shook the hatch, everything. It was super sick. I loved that car. I mean, it was a brand new car when I was 16 years old. Like, how can it be bad? Wasn't fast, wasn't anything exciting, just a practical, reliable hatchback. Would I own one again? No, but I do like every time I see one, it makes me a little happy. I think just for the nostalgia factor, I'm going to go ahead and put it at C tier. Alright, the next one I had was a 2008 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited. It's a 4-door Jeep Wrangler, had a soft top. It was actually used. It had a couple modifications already done to it, like a leveling kit, wheels and tires. I put my subs from the Scion XB into that. Sounded way worse with the soft top and everything. It was an okay car. I didn't really love it. I liked the fact that it was a Jeep and I could do Jeep things in it, but it really sucked. It had the old, if you know anything about Jeeps, it had the old 3.8 liter V6 in it, which had no power whatsoever. When I took it on a road trip down to Florida on the highway, it couldn't decide what gear it wanted to stay in. It didn't have enough power to stay in top gear, so it would constantly slow down until the point where it had to downshift, and then it would downshift, and then it would shoot up the RPMs and start accelerating. I think JK Wranglers are some of the worst cars that you can ever buy. I don't think they look bad, but they're pretty shit. So that thing is going straight into D tier. Would never own one again. Next, one of my favorite cars I've ever owned. It was a Mark V Volkswagen GTI. It was white. It had the plaid cloth interior, the DSG gearbox. I had this when I lived in Florida. It was an absolute blast to rip around. Never had any issues with it. Again, it was only a few years old at that point, so there wouldn't be anything wrong with it. So much fun. I think this is going to be my first A tier, mostly because I've owned more GTIs since then. I'm a huge fan of GTIs. I think they're some of the best cars that you can buy for the money. So we're going to stick that right up in A tier. Next. I wanted a bit of redemption from my Jeep Wrangler before, and at this point I had went to college and I moved up to Boone, North Carolina, up in the mountains of North Carolina, and I thought, I'm up in the mountains, I gotta have a mountain vehicle, so I bought myself a 98 Jeep Wrangler. I got a phenomenal deal on it looking back. I paid 10 grand for it. It had like 65,000 miles on it for being a 98, and at this point this was 2012. So it was very old at that point, but it was kept beautifully. It was owned by a couple in Florida before they moved up to the mountains and sold it. I did a bunch of stuff with this. I actually had a sponsorship with Extreme Terrain where they sent me some parts for me to try, and I was very popular. I don't want to say very popular. I was very active on jeepforum.com, so they would send me stuff to do write-ups on, and I had a lift kit, wheels and tires. It had half doors. I got a different soft top for it. Rock sliders, different fenders. I had a Tuffy security center console in the middle of it. It's a nice metal safety console that actually had an 8-inch subwoofer in it as well. As you can tell, I love subwoofers. This is easily going S tier. If there was anything higher than S tier, I would have put it there. I absolutely love that thing. I should have never sold it. There's a few cars on this list that are going to be like that. But next, my very first dive into BMW. It was a 2001 E46. It was a 330xi, so it was the all-wheel drive 3 Series. Beautiful. It was 2-owner car. It had 175,000 miles, maybe even 185,000 miles on it when I got it, which I was a little leery about, but I bought it from a reputable used car dealer who I won't name. It's Cosmo Motors down in Hickory. Don't ever buy a car from them. Where they said everything was repaired with genuine OEM BMW parts. After 6 months of ownership, I had things like check valves, sensors, you name it, going wrong. Come to find out, when my mechanic looked at it, he said it was all replaced with cheap Chinese shit and nothing on it was actually OEM BMW, so I got fully scammed on that one. It was a gorgeous car inside and out. It doesn't look like anyone had ever been in the back seat, and I'm so upset that the car just like barely ever worked. I mean, it worked. It started and drove all the time, but it always had a check engine light. Everything underneath was starting to go out. It was starting to get like dangerous to drive. It's hard for me to rank this thing because it was such a nice car. It was loaded. It was so fun to drive, but that particular one was a piece of shit. So I think for that reason alone, I have to put it in C tier. I definitely want another E46. I really want an E46 M3. I think they're some of the best cars available. But yeah, we'll keep it in C tier for now. I might move these around later, but that's where we're going to go for now. All right, moving on to the next car that my parents were generous enough to buy me. It was a graduation gift when I graduated college. They bought me a brand new Subaru WRX Limited, fully loaded. I always wanted a WRX. I certainly did not want, well, of course I wanted it, but I certainly did not expect to get a brand new WRX Limited. I would have been fine with an old Bug-Eye or something like that, you know, but my parents are car people, which is why I'm a car guy as well. So they love cars just as much as I do, and they actually surprised me with this thing. I came down the mountain to get a haircut, and my parents were like, hey, why don't you swing by the dealer? There's a cool WRX here we think you might like. Took a look at it, and I'm like, yeah, it's cool, but I don't need all these features or anything like that. And my mom was like, well, too bad, we just bought it for you. I love that car. Unfortunately, and I'm going to see if I can find pictures of it. I tried to delete it out of my memory, but I basically totaled this thing one winter. I had summer performance tires on it. They were basically bald. The irony of it is I was going to my parents' house to get the new tires that I had already bought and ordered, and I was going to pick them up and take them to the shop to get them put on, and my parents lived up a windy mountainous road, and I just hit a patch of ice on bald summer tires and didn't stop and went straight and smashed into a giant boulder. The car was being repaired for like 6 months. It was like $30-some thousand in damages. Somehow didn't write off the car, but after that, insurance just got to be too much for me to handle. So I just ended up selling it. Rather unfortunate, but I love the car. I had a short shifter on it. I had a nameless muffler exhaust. I had a nameless muffler delete on it. Sounded great. So much fun to drive. I don't think I'd ever own another one though. I think we put that as our first B tier because it was a fantastic car, but I don't think I would own one again. I love WRXs. This generation is only okay. I think they look really good, better than the new generation, but I don't think they're as cool as literally any of the older ones. Okay. Oh boy, my Toyota truck. My beautiful Toyota truck. 1986 Toyota pickup, 4-wheel drive, 22R, not the RE, it's the carbureted R. I bought this thing in an absolute wreck. It was a piece of shit. It was rattle canned blue, which I guess I can't say anything because I ended up rattle canning it again, but I did a better fucking job. It had some 33-inch tires. It had a couple of other things done to it, but it was just full-on redneckified. I got it in Knoxville, Tennessee. I actually got it for a package deal. $4,000. I got that truck and a Suzuki Intruder 1400 motorcycle, which I never drove. I had that car for I had that truck for like 7 years. I stripped the body down to bare metal. I repainted the entire thing inside and out. Dad pulled the engine and rebuilt it because it was having some knocking. Basically everything under the hood was brand new. I put new differentials in it, front and rear, 529 lockers, 529 gear ratio, sorry. Auto locker in the rear, auto locker in the front. I had a custom tube bed made to go on the frame because he just had a little cut bed frame that he welded angle iron on. It looked pretty ugly. Put a spare tire carrier back there, a whole fuel cell and ignition kit. I completely redid the interior with Corbeau fixed back bucket seats. Again, another Tuffy center console. Fun fact, if you're watching this and you have a Toyota truck and you want a Tuffy center console, get a Suzuki Samurai one. It fits perfectly. They don't make one for the Toyota, but this thing's small enough to where it fits in between bucket seats and gives you a center console so you can have cup holders and, you know, storage and stuff like that. New dash, everything like that. At one point I was going for a full blue interior and I had some beautiful blue MR2 seats in it. But blue Toyota pieces are very expensive, and at this time I still have no money, but at that time I had even less no money. So I wasn't able to do that, and I ended up just scrapping the whole project and selling it and just went for like a nice gray and black interior on it. This is easily an S tier. Again, I would put this higher and wish I never sold it. The only reason I did sell it is because I unfortunately got laid off from my job. And I had this car and one of the other cars that you're going to see later on. And I had them both for sale, and unfortunately this is the one that sold first, so that I could, you know, continue paying for my house and stuff like that. So rather unfortunate that I had to get rid of it, but I love that thing, and if the owner of it is watching it, please text me, I want it back. Next, my Jeep Cherokee. It was a 1993 Jeep Cherokee. I don't know if you can pick up on the theme, but I tend to go back and forth between like a sporty fun car and like a four-wheel drive Jeep type of deal. So I got this one for super cheap. It was sitting at a shop for a long time. A guy in Blowing Rock had it. He owned a flower business and just used this Jeep to deliver flowers. I got it for $1,200. It was limited, so it had beautiful blue paint, tan interior. They weren't leather, but they were like the vinyl and fabric seats. They were super comfortable. It was very nice. Power everything. I didn't know this when I bought it. It has very, very, very bad rust. When I put the lift kit on, I found the spring perches were basically only held on by hopes and dreams on the front axle. So we had to cut that off. I had a buddy come over and he welded on new heavy duty spring perches. We repainted the entire thing black, threw the lift kit on, realized it wasn't going to clear the fender flares, pulled the rear flares off, found a giant rust hole in the rear quarter panel, which sucked, but whatever. At this point I had, you know, a $1,200 Jeep. I didn't really care about the rust holes. And then more on the rust issues, I put a rear bumper on, and we like trimmed the rear corners for a little bit more clearance, and found that they were just essentially holes underneath. So you pull up the carpet and there was just a hole in the trunk by the corner. So we riv knotted a couple of aluminum or steel or whatever, some metal plates over there, just to kind of stop it from getting into the carpet and getting wet and nasty. And then I had a new exhaust put on it because my old one had literally rusted and just broke in half and fell off down the road. And I put that on, and I guess the new muffler or the new exhaust wasn't as good as dissipating the heat. So heat went through my rear floorboards, which I didn't realize had a rust hole in it, and it set my carpet on fire because of the heat from the exhaust. So again, we didn't even rivet this one in. We just slid a plate over the hole underneath the carpet, and that was good. I drove that thing for a few years, went off-roading with some buddies. It was a piece of shit. It burned oil like crazy, or leaked it out, or one of the two. It got to the point where I got so sick of checking it and filling it up that I just kept a 5-quart thing of oil in the Jeep at all times. And as soon as the temperature would start rising, I knew I was out of oil, so I would just pull over. I basically just waited for the Jeep to overheat, and then I would pull over and fill it with oil and drive again until it happened. I eventually got rid of that thing because I just wanted something a little bit nicer to drive around. It was cool, but at that point I was going to be having to travel a lot for work, and it just wasn't feasible. Where do we put this? Again, like, I loved it, but it could have been better. I'm gonna go B tier. Red Cherokee. I actually had this Cherokee at the same time that I owned my blue Cherokee. I think I drove it twice. It was literally just a flip that I made. My coworker was getting rid of this Jeep, and my dad bought it for $500. I did he checked some of the mechanical work on it. There was like a dent on the front bumper. I got a new front bumper and grille for it that were already paint matched. I did a full detail on it. We cleaned it up, turned around, flipped it for $2,800, split the profit. So I guess for that I'll put it in A because I made easy money off of it, I guess, right? And then now we're on to my next GTI. I'm gonna go ahead and straight away put this at S tier, and then we'll get into it. Actually, there's not much getting into it. It's just an absolutely perfect car. It was Mark 7 GTI. If I mentioned the other one was a Mark 5, this is a Mark 7 GTI. I think it's the absolute pinnacle of GTI as far as styling and performance and everything like that. This thing was tuned, had an intake, full Miltech exhaust, sounded fantastic, would spin the wheels in first, second, and third. So much fun, so practical, just all around perfect car. It's everything the Mark 5 did, but 10 times better. 100% would own one again. I actually almost bought another one about a year ago. The GX 470, another car that I had always liked, always wanted. Found one that was a pretty decent deal. Again, Florida owned. I don't know how I keep getting. I do know how I keep getting Florida owned cars because a lot of people from Florida move to Boone or visit Boone or have second houses up here and they sell their cars up here because they don't want to deal with selling it in Florida, I guess. Yeah, it was a great deal. Super comfy, fantastic car. I loved it. Had horrible electric issues that I found. I'm pretty sure was from the weather stripping on the doors where the windows go up and down like the scrapers. They were like super badly dry rotted, and I think water was getting in and like rusting out either electrical connections or grounds or something like that because this car would not hold a charge. We changed the alternator, changed the battery, and you couldn't leave this car for 24 hours. Otherwise, you'd have to jump start it in the morning. I would like to own another GX 470 at some point, but I don't think I'm brave enough just because of all the issues that I've had. And they're still ridiculously expensive. You're paying like 10 grand for one that has 200,000 miles. And I know they last forever, but that's really hard to justify. So as much as I hate to do it, I'm going to throw that at D tier. Volkswagen Beetle, D tier. It was fun. It had no paint on it. The previous owner stripped the paint, clear coated it, slammed it on its nuts. It ran okay. It also had electrical issues. It was so simple, and I still couldn't figure out the electrical issues. Again, I want another Beetle, but this one was just a really bad representation of it. Oh, we're getting down. We only got 5 left. I can't count. My Nissan President, 1998 Nissan President, my first dive into JDM. I found this car because I was starting to look at JDM and right-hand drive cars and learning that there was more to JDM other than just Skylines and Supras and RX-7s and stuff like that, you know? I didn't realize that there was such another world out there, and this was kind of my first dive into it. And I found Driver Motorsports up in Virginia and started looking at their website, and I was very surprised at how many cars there were that were affordable, that seemed, you know, like unrealistic. Like this car, I forget how many miles it had, like 20 or 30,000 miles. It may have even been in the teens or something like that. It had like almost nothing on it. Beautiful shape, long wheelbase. It was lowered on JIC Magic coilovers with some 19-inch Lowenhart wheels. It was a very rare package with the long wheelbase, pearl white, and tan leather interior. It had rear seat controls for if you had a TV, you would have TV controls. Mine didn't. No, it did have a TV. Did it? I don't remember. I don't remember if it had a TV in the rear or not. But it had rear AC controls for sure. And it was super fun. It was a V8. I took it to car shows. I won car shows in it. Took it to Cars and Coffee. But, I mean, that thing was a yacht. It was like 185,000 feet long and a couple of inches off the ground. I scraped absolutely everywhere. And at the time, I had it and the Toyota pickup. And I told you I sold the Toyota pickup, and then I ended up selling this because I just couldn't justify it. It was essentially just a show car with how nice it was, and I don't really have keep a show car money. So I got rid of that and at the same time I bought the next car that you're about to see, which is a very stark difference. But this President, A tier for sure. It was so cool. It was so swaggy. I don't know if I'll ever be cool enough to have another car like that again. But it was awesome. Now, the $300 Honda Accord. If you remember this guy up here that we bought the red Cherokee from, about a year or so later, he offered to sell us this Honda Accord. It was a 97? Something like that. 96, 97 Honda Accord. Offered it for $300, so we jumped on it. He took it to a shop. It was overheating. The shop said that it was a bad head gasket and he's gonna have to, you know, basically rebuild the entire engine. He was like, well, it's not worth it. It's a 30-year-old car. If you know these old Hondas, they have plastic radiator shrouds that connect to the piping. That's all it was. The radiator shroud was broken, and we bought a new one and put it on, and it never had any overheating issues since then. The car absolutely fucking reeked. It was disgusting, just like the Cherokee was. So we did a full detail on it. I got some better looking stock wheels and tires that match, because this had like 3 different wheels on it. I eventually spruced it up a little bit. I put a sundown 12-inch subwoofer in the back. I got new headlights, new front bumper, new rear bumper, because it didn't even have a rear bumper on it. Stuff like that. Honestly, I'm kicking myself every single day for selling that thing, because while it was a piece of shit, it started and ran and drove every single day and literally never let me down, and I had no money into it, and I sold it and have only had issues with cars since. So I guess that's what I get. The car gods are blaming me, but this might seem insane. This car is going straight up into S tier. Value for money is unmatched. My E30. Oh, my E30. A love-hate relationship. I've had it for 3 years now. It's still in pieces in my backyard. If you don't know, if you're new to the channel, this is my drift car that I'm actually documenting the build on my channel. We're getting close. I'm hoping in the next month or so the engine should be in and we should be able to fire this thing up and see if it's gonna run. But as of now, it is just as it looks. I took this picture a few days ago. I don't even know how to rank this thing. I'm gonna put it in C tier, mostly because I bought it under the assumption that it was 95% complete. Now looking back, it was maybe 70% complete. I've put way more time and money into this thing than I was hoping to and that I was wanting to. Now it's fun because I'm learning a lot and I'm documenting it, and it's, you know, it's YouTube content and it's fun. But I would have liked to have been driving this car for the past 2 years already, and I'm just not at that point. So we're gonna stick it in C tier. CRV, my second JDM car. I got a good deal on this because the guy needed money quickly. It was probably the cheapest JDM CRV that's ever sold in the country. I would assume it was $6,000. Had like 105, 110,000 miles on it, 108, something like that. It was actually slammed on its nuts when I got it, which I hated. I hate slammed CRVs. I think they're so ugly. I'm sorry if you have one. It just looks absurd. And the early JDM CRVs are actually 4-lug, and the guy was nice enough that he had swapped the front to 5-lug already and had 5-lug hubs for the rear. So I finished up the swap. I bought some rare JDM SSR Mark 1 wheels for it, put a lift kit on it, some Falcon 215 75R15 tires on it, for just like a little bit of an off-roady look. Had tons of rare accessories on it. It was so cool. It was so practical. Got good gas mileage, and then the transmission started going out. If you know the CRVs, the auto transes are pretty shit, and that's what this had, unfortunately. I had a couple options, manual, swap it, whatever. I did a quick band-aid fix on it to where it would drive. I sold it. I made money on it. Dude, if you're watching this video, I'm sorry, but you probably would have reached out to me at some point if it was actually bad. I don't know, maybe I did fix it and didn't know, but either way, it was cool. I've always liked these first-gen CRVs, but unfortunately this one kind of put a really bad taste in my mouth. So I don't really see myself owning another one, and to be honest, I'm putting it down in D tier. I know it's kind of shocking because I did absolutely love that car, and it was one of the better CRVs that you're gonna find as far as like options, how good it look, condition, everything like that. And last but not least, my Gladiator. I can't really rate this thing yet because I've only had it for like a couple of months. But as of right now, I've already done truck stuff with it. I've done a little bit of off-roady stuff with it. It's getting way better MPG than I thought it would get. I'm getting like 18.5 to 19. Super cool, super practical, super fun. Hasn't given me any issues yet. But again, it's only a 5-year-old car, so it shouldn't. I think as of right now, I'm just going to put it in B tier and make this tier list kind of nice and even. Now let's see if there are any move arounds that we want to do. I think I need to move the Mark V up to S. I think both GTIs need to be in S tier. And I think they need to be... Why won't you move? There we go. I think they need to be like this. And then this needs to be like that. Like that. Like that. And that needs to be at the top of D tier. Okay. I think that's it. So that's me ranking every car that I've ever owned. I own a lot of cars, as you can tell. Well, I have owned. I don't own all of them now. The only ones I have now are the Gladiator and the E30. But I've gone through 17 cars and I'm 33 years old, so do the math. I've owned multiple at a time, a lot of times. So honestly, give it a few years and we'll probably be making another one of these videos with the other cars that I've owned since then. So I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this. I know it's a little bit different style of a video, so let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thanks, bye, I love you.